Learning objectives. After completing this module, learners will be able to explain the various ways in which multinational companies set up or control production in other countries. Describe foreign trade. Discuss how foreign trade lead to integration of markets across countries. Enlist the trade barriers. Explain why government uses trade barriers. Define the special economic zones. Discuss the reason behind the government setting up special economic zones. Explain the impact of globalization in India. Production across countries. In the middle of the 20th century, the countries organized production within itself. Colonies of India exported the raw materials and foodstuff and imported finished goods. Trade was regarded as the main channel of connection between distant countries. This was done before large companies called multinational corporation or MNCs were established. MNCs are companies that have their branches or manufacturing units in more than one nation. MNCs establish their factories and offices in regions where cheap labor, raw material and other resources are readily available. This minimizes the cost of production and increases the profit. MNCs play an important role in the Indian economy by setting up production jointly with some of the local companies. Example, MNCs can provide money for additional investment, like buying new machines for faster production. MNCs are playing major important role in the process of rapid integration or interconnection between countries. No more regions of the world are in closer contact with each other than a few decades back. Interlinking production across countries. MNCs look into 4 major criteria before they set up production in any place. The factory or company should be close to markets. Skilled and unskilled labor should be available at low costs. Availability of other factors of production should be assured, example infrastructure. Local government policies should be in their interests. When the above conditions are to their satisfaction, MNCs set up factories and offices for production in different countries. As these MNCs are setting up factories in foreign country, the investment they make in terms of acquiring land, construction building, and buying machinery is called foreign investment. At times, MNCs set up production jointly with some of the local company benefits in 2 ways from this joint venture. MNCs provide money for additional investments like buying new machines for faster production. MNCs introduce the latest technology for production. MNCs are spreading their production and interacting with local producers in various countries across the globe. MNCs are setting up partnerships with local companies. MNCs are using the local companies for supply of raw material or accessories. Positive impact of globalization in India. The impact of globalization in India has been tremendous. Greater competition among producers resulting from globalization is a great advantage to consumers as there is greater choice before them. Consumers now enjoy improved quality and lower prices for several products. Due to globalization, many MNCs have increased their investment in India. This means thousands of people are getting highly paid jobs and enjoy much higher standards of living than was possible earlier. Local companies supplying raw materials to these industries have proposed Top Indian companies have benefited from increased competition. They have invested in newer technologies and production methods and raised their production standards. Some Indian companies have gained from successful collaborations with foreign companies. Large Indian companies have emerged as multinationals like Tata Motors. Globalization has also created new opportunities for Indian companies, providing services, particularly in the IT field, such as data entry, accounting, and administrative tasks, are now being done cheaply in India and exported to the developed countries. This has generated thousands of jobs. Positive impact of globalization in India. Quality product, job opportunity, Indian MNCs, foreign collaborations, newer technology, supply of raw material, high standard of living. Negative impact of globalization in India. There is also a negative side to globalization in India. For a large number of small producers and workers, globalization has posed major challenges. Reasons for the negative impact. Rising competition. Liberalization of foreign trade policies allowed the import of electronic goods at a very cheap cost. Local producers of electronic goods were not able to meet with this challenge. MNCs flooded the market with quality products at a cheap price. Local producers are not to compete with this and are to put up hardship, as their goods do not have a market. Uncertain employment. In order to compete in the world market, exporters try and cut labor costs. Workers are denied their fair share of benefits as manufacturers are always on lookout for cheap labor. Negative impact of globalization. Small producers are put to hardship. Less wages. Uncertain employment. What is globalization? Globalization is the rapid integration or interconnection between countries, mostly on the economic plane. In other words, globalization means integrating our economic with the world economy. So globalization is the interconnection between the countries. Now let us see how countries are interconnected. MNCs are spreading their base and setting up factories or companies in other countries where labor is cheap. There is huge foreign investments and transfer of latest technology. Movement of people between countries increases due to globalization. Foreign trade between countries has now risen rapidly. The activities of most MNCs involve trade in goods and also services. Foreign trade and integration of markets. For a long time, foreign trade has been the main channel connecting countries. Even as early as the 8th century, extensive trade took place between South Asia, including India, and the East and West. Trading interests attracted various trading companies such as the East India Company to India. The benefits of foreign trade were tremendous. Foreign trade created an opportunity for the producers to reach beyond the domestic markets, that is, markets of their own countries. Producers could compete in markets located in other countries of the world. Expanding foreign trade gave consumers a wider choice of goods beyond what is domestically produced. So, due to foreign trade and integration of markets, goods travel from one market to another. Choices of goods in the markets rises. Process of similar goods in the two markets, where it is produced and where it is sold, tend to become equal. Producers in the two countries compete against each other even though they are separated by thousands of miles. World Trade Organization. World Trade Organization, or WTO, is an international body which aims at liberalizing international trade. It was started at the initiative of the developed countries. WTO establishes rules regarding international trade. It seems that the member countries obey these rules, and 165 countries of the world are currently members of WTO 2016. It is located in Geneva, Switzerland. It was established on January 1995. It was created by Uruguay Negotiations 1986 to 94. It gives membership to 151 countries on 27 July 2007. The total budget under WTO is 182 million Swiss francs for 2007. The number of people in Secretariat staff are 625. It is headed by Pascal Lamy, Director General. Functions of World Trade Organization are administering WTO trade agreements, forum for trade negotiations, handling trade disputes, monitoring national trade policies, technical assistance and training for developing countries, cooperation with other international organizations. The struggle for a fair globalization. Globalization has two sides, the positive, the negative. If a balance to be brought about, we should strive towards fair globalization. On one hand, we have people with education, skill, and wealth who have benefited from globalization. On the other hand, there are the uneducated, less skilled people who have not benefited from it. The government can play a major role in ensuring that the fruits of globalization reach everyone, the educated and the uneducated, equally. Its policies must protect the interests not only of the rich and the powerful, but all the people in the country. The Indian government should ensure that labor laws are properly implemented and the workers get their rights. The government should support small producers to improve their performance till the time they became strong enough to compete. If necessary, the government should use trade and investment barriers to protect small producers. The government should negotiate at the WTO for fairer rules. It can also align with other developing countries with similar interests to fight against the domination of developed countries in the WTO. Massive campaigns and representation by people's organizations have influenced important decisions relating to trade and investment at the WTO. This has demonstrated that people also can play an important role in the struggle for fair globalization. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learned. Joint production provides money for additional investment and latest technology for production. Producers in the two countries closely compete against each other, even though they are separated by thousands of miles. Thus, foreign trade results in connecting the markets or integration of markets in different countries. Government uses trade barriers to increase or decrease foreign trade and to decide what kinds of goods and how much of each should come into the country. Increased competition has encouraged top Indian companies to invest in newer technologies and production methods and raise their production standards. Globalization has enabled some large Indian companies to emerge as multinational.